First race, flipped it.
In rallying, drifting, or Formula cars, there's nothing she hasn't handled.
How have you found adapting to single-seaters after kind of being sliding on the dirt your whole career?
My dad always told me another opportunity is just another tool in your toolbox. I want to be, racing at the highest level, whether that's an F1 or WRC or World Rallycross.
Lia Block's going to get P3 on her debut.
We're fighting for tenths. You can't even snap your fingers or blink in a tenth. That's how close we are.
Lia Block takes victory in F1 Academy at Singapore.
What is the driver version of you?
I need the adrenaline, but I also need to win. So I say, work now, party later.
Welcome everybody, we are here in Singapore. It's a very special episode. We have a Lia Block on the podcast today, obviously professional race car driver, so welcome in.
Thank you.
Before we start, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place to spend my birthday, to be honest.
Not.
Quite cool. And it's your 19th birthday.
19th. I can't believe, when you say that, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Really?
I still feel like I'm 16.
See, we were talking about this last night. Everyone we interview is so young and
Yeah.
so
I know, I'm getting worried now.
successful. So young, I'm not sure how I feel. I'm very excited to talk to you today. I'm having a bit of a fangirl moment because I do think you are very cool.
Thank you.
I think rallying is probably the coolest sport out there, and
I would probably agree with you.
you are queen of rallying. So should we go to the very beginning?
No, we shall.
Where did it start?
So I grew up racing, traveling around the world with my dad from a very young age. Just in and out of rally paddocks, rallycross paddocks, just in and out of, motorsport, different cultures, growing up, basically traveling my entire life. So I was kind of just born into it, and I grew up seeing it at a very high level, but mostly all dirt. And somehow I'm sitting here at the Singapore Grand Prix. Who knows how I got here, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I had a very cool childhood, I would say, and just sucked into it from the very beginning, and eventually made it my career. So I'm very, very happy to be where I am.
But it's interesting you say that because motorsport is one of those funny worlds where it's like two opposite ends of the scale. Like you said, it's super glamorous. Like we're here in Singapore, it's really cool. But also like down to the nitty gritty, like you're just driving about in mud, sand, whatever it is. It's actually quite messy.
Definitely. Even Formula One, it can get quite messy.
Yeah.
It is a very difficult sport because of how much it changed and how quickly it can change.
Sure.
Whether that's track conditions or weather conditions, everything can come down to someone's tiny mistake that can blow up someone else's entire weekend. And that same goes for rally. You can make a tiny mistake, maybe break that 1 meter too late and you're off into a tree. Yeah. So it's so precise, and it may not look like that from the outside, but I think that's why, as drivers, we enjoy it so much.
If you're out at a Grand Prix with your mates, you don't need to worry about all the maths when splitting bills. You can split bills with Revolut at the touch of a button and send them reminders if they're slow to pay you back. And if you're abroad or in need of cash, Revolut also has you covered with the no Revolut fee withdrawals worldwide at ATM within your plan allowance. And Revolut's ATM Finder feature easily shows you the nearest ATMs, and you can filter to only show the ones that are surcharge free. A huge thank you to Revolut for sponsoring this video. You can check out the link below or the QR code on screen and sign up to Revolut and get £20, $20 or 40 Australian dollars after using the card just once.
Absolutely. So you grew up watching it, being surrounded by it. At what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to give it a go now, it's my turn?
Yeah, as I said, growing up and traveling all around the world, I wanted to kind of figure out what I wanted to do by trying other things first. So I did snowboarding, skateboarding, skiing, basketball, swimming, tennis, I could go on. But I enjoy doing sports and being outdoorsy. And I think just the fact that I was able to try all the different things made me really, solidify my decision as going towards motorsport. And I guess it was always there, but I just found my way back to it. And I was about, 11 years old when I first started racing. So my dad got me a Razor 570, and it was the first little car that I got to drive. First race, flipped it, second corner, you know, pushed me back over, kept going. I think that happened like maybe 4 times during the weekend, but I just enjoyed it so much from, you know, off the bat. And that was off-road short course. So it had some jumps. Obviously, we probably weren't going fast enough to do the jumps, but I just had so much fun. It was wheel-to-wheel racing, kind of like a rallycross style. And I just got sucked into it from there. And amazing. I've had a long career so far. It feels I've done so much, you know, every single discipline, but it's been so fun.
And you're only 19.
Yeah.
That's mental.
It's insane.
And what drew you to the off-road? Because like you said, like you've tried quite a few different disciplines, and off-road kind of is that, but then you're doing single-seater now.
Yeah.
So like where?
Well, I grew up in the off-road world, right?
Sure.
Around rally and rallycross. So of course that's where my parents had, you know, connections, and that's where I started. But I actually eventually went to karting after the Lucas Oil off-road series kind of shut down at my track. So the only other option was kind of go-karting. And I started that with my brother at the same time, and I did it a bit on and off. Until I found rally, but it was just a fun way, you know, being that young when I can't get in a rally car yet, just to go racing on the weekends. And it was like a super basic series, regional series, and I had fun and I learned a lot. And I think doing karting for even just that little bit helped me so much as a driver, even in off-road areas, because I think like every single, you know, type of motorsports can correlate in some way to others. So just seat time as a young girl, you know, and obviously growing up in that age as a girl, I was the only one racing in that series, you know. So even going back now to my local track and just going to practice, like there's at least one girl in each series. Like it's so cool to see that, it's like really evolution. Cool. But as you know, growing up and getting these opportunities, like my parents never told me I couldn't do anything, right? Even because of my, you know, gender, right? So I never saw that barrier, which was so cool. And my mom, growing up, she also raced rally, and we just did all different types of sports together. So there was never like that barrier in my mind. But I think that really helped me, you know, being that young and never seeing that barrier. Yeah. Just even to this day.
Do you think it helped then that both your parents were driving? So you saw your mum do it?
Definitely.
Like to have your dad do it is quite, I think a lot of people have like a similar experience where I know like a lot of people we've spoken to tends to be their dad that kind of gets them into it. But it's cool that your mum does it as well. That's really sick.
Like role model for sure. She always had a unicorn on the side of her car or something like it was like a unicorn fighting a metal robot or something like this. It was pretty awesome, and we wore Galaxy leggings to match our dad's car or whatever. So it was kind of a very inclusive sport, and it was a family thing, you know.
I think that's such an important thing that you just said of you never saw the barrier. Right. I think that's been the issue for a lot of female racing drivers, especially younger girls that look at racing and maybe want to do it, but they feel like that barrier is there when it actually isn't. Okay, there is some sort of barrier that's very complex to talk about, but I feel like as the years are going on now, that barrier is getting smaller and smaller. And I think the key message, I think, for a lot of women out there is that barrier isn't there, and the fact you always saw racing as with no barrier. I think that's so important message to like.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is I had my mom as a role model. You know, I saw a female in that space. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't, you know, the top level WRC or F1, but I had the role model and I didn't see the barriers. So I think that's so important for today. Like as we're getting more and more role models, you know, in even the F1 Academy space, and then going into rally, it's just, you know, showing girls instead of telling them, which is really helpful.
I think it's really hard to imagine yourself doing something if you can't see someone that is anyway like you doing it. Yeah. I think that's really, and I think, I mean, how do you feel? Because obviously you are now becoming a role model, because you didn't have many growing up, I'm guessing, because there just weren't women in that game, and now you're one of them. Do you feel the pressure of that, or are you like, do you enjoy it? Do you want to be the role model for?
I really enjoy it, to be honest. Like obviously there is the pressure of, you know, trying to show yourself in the best light possible, and you know, portray a strong female, you know, athlete that is making her way in motorsports. But for me, I enjoy it, so it's not as much pressure. You know, you know, it's like, it's hard when I look at my Instagram stats and it's like 90% men. You're like, okay, but how do I reach the young girls that are going to watch this and see this and be like, oh, that is a sport that I could do, you know? But I think it's just, you know, keep doing my best, and this is my career, so it's what I enjoy and would love to do every single day. So it's about enjoying that as well, and hopefully reaching others.
I think as well, what always shines through with you is your authenticity. Like, you're clearly so passionate about what you do and you genuinely love it and your heart is in it. And I think you can see that so clearly, like whether it's on, the Academy series or social media or just when you're racing, I think you can really see that love for it, which is so believable. And I think that's what young girls need to see. Yeah. Like, you don't have to try and be someone you're not to be good at this sport. You can just be you.
Yeah, I'm myself. You don't have to fit into a box at all. Like, especially motorsports, it's such a different sport in that way. Like, drivers outside of racing have their own separate personalities, and I think it really shows through in motorsports the most out of all the sports, which is super cool because it obviously gives fans like the ability to just resonate with different drivers in different ways because they can relate to them better. So I think that's why I enjoy social media and like being separate from obviously live TV or whatever the broadcasts are, is to be able to show your personality and who you really are, and be able to encapsulate this specific audience to you, and be able to share your journey with them.
Should we talk about your career then? Because obviously you did a lot of off-road.
Yes.
Then you get
interesting route.
Yeah, then you get the call up from Williams to go and do single-seater. What was that phone call like?
Well, it was quite interesting. I mean, obviously doing off-road and after a bit of karting, I started rally at 15. When you can get your learner's permit in the US, so I could drive the road sections, but I did that for 3 years. I won the rear-wheel drive championship when I was 17. So I was the youngest ever to win that championship, the only female to ever win the championship, and the only female team to win the championship. So my co-driver was
pretty
him
good
as well.
start.
Yeah, I know. It was really nice. But I've done Extreme. I've won the Baja 1000.
Did you do that with your mum?
I did that with my mom. Yes,
really
so she.
awesome.
So that is a really cool thing that we get to share.
Nice.
Is that victory with Can-Am. So it was a pretty awesome experience. I would definitely do it again. At the finish line, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have said that because it was so difficult. Obviously, when we raced it was 1,200 miles, and I did about 400 of those. But that's obviously straight, and you are obviously trying to save the car, but also win. So it was very difficult, and just the endurance style of it was awesome. It's such a cool experience.
Also kind of different for you, I guess. You hadn't done endurance.
That was the
before.
first endurance thing I've done. I mean, I would say rally is pretty.
It's a lot longer.
Yeah, it's a long weekend, right? But it's not consecutively hours. But yeah, very different, very difficult, and to go straight in the Baja 1000 was definitely throw yourself in the deep end, it's gonna be fine. And it was great.
It was more than fine.
Yeah, it was more than fine. But
good.
it was really, really cool experience I got to share with my mom. She raced when I won the championship in the rear-wheel drive car during that season as well. So we were kind of a two-car team. She was racing in the four-wheel drive. So I've got to share, racing with her quite a lot, and it's been really fun. But we also did Pikes Peak together that same year.
That's so cool.
So that was a pretty cool experience as well. We'd get up, I think at like 2 a.m., be up on the mountain doing a recce, go up and down and doing the hill and stages, practicing.
What car did you do that in?
I did that in the Huna Pegasus, which is the awesome. Porsche, the pink Porsche. Yeah. And then she did it in a electric Sierra car. Cool. So super cool experience to share with her as well. But I feel like I've done every kind of discipline.
You really have.
Yeah.
You have.
You've done a lot.
Maybe not oval racing. I haven't done that yet. Maybe we'll try it someday.
So talk about, you've obviously had very interesting sort of route to single-seaters. I mean, I did the normal karting, F4, Formula Renault, whatever, standard procedure. You've done off-road, rally, like everything. How have you found adapting to single-seaters now? Because obviously, I mean, even if I go and try, some guys would teach me to drift the other month, and getting it sideways for me is like against all the rules that I learned at single-seaters. As soon as you're sliding, it's slow, So how have you found adapting to single-seaters after kind of being sliding on the dirt your whole career, really, before that?
Well, it was really difficult, that's for sure. But obviously I got the call from Williams 2 years ago, so that was right after I'd won the rear-wheel drive championship. And I'd always wanted to do something in open wheel just to try it, because it's kind of like an area of unknown for me. I did a little bit of karting, but nothing big. I'd done a USF 2000 test previously before that. Just kind of, it was like an opportunity just to do it. And it was quite fun, you know? So when Williams reached out, I was like, holy crap, like this is crazy.
Cool, yeah.
Literally a lottery ticket, you know, to do this experience and to represent them in F1 Academy, and F1 Academy being such a big, you know, moment in this space, especially for females, was kind of just a dream come true for me. And like my dad always told me, like, you know, another opportunity is just another tool in your toolbox, you know, and you can go back and use whenever you need it. So I just wanted to take this opportunity just to have fun, you know, and learn something new. And obviously coming off of that rear-wheel drive championship, I didn't really know what it was going to be next. And junior WRC, you can't race that till you're 18. I was still 17. So it was like, there was a little bit of a break in my career. I was like, why not? You know,
perfect.
so I went and did a test for them, and it apparently went well. So I got the call, and James Bowles and Sven Smeets were on the Zoom call, and they asked me if I would represent them in F1 Academy. And I was like, yes, let's do it, you know? At that time, I didn't think it was going to be as much work as it has turned out to be. But I've really enjoyed the process so far. Like it's been really difficult, and kind of I've had to start from scratch again, you know, and relearn everything. Like obviously done a little bit of karting, but that's really not much to compare to when you get into an F4 car. So it's really kind of like, you know, turning that off-road switch off in my brain and turning a different one on.
That must have been the hardest thing.
Yes, for sure. Because obviously what you said,
it's
like...
all opposites, really,
exactly. It's kind of ridiculous. And then just learning the data side of it was a really big change for me. Just looking at a computer and you just see all these lines and you're like, what do they mean? Like, you know, learning all of that stuff has been really cool. And the small margins, like literally, I've had to step back a couple times and really think about it. And like, we're fighting for tenths. You can't even snap your fingers or blink in a tenth, you know? Like, that's how close we are.
You're just sitting there writing down brake 2 meters
right,
later,
it's
turn
insane.
3, trying to find the reference points for that. It's insane.
It's crazy, but I've really enjoyed just learning this side of it, and you know, being able to race on F1 weekends and go to these incredible circuits. Cool. Like it's been so fun for me. And then also traveling to all these cool places. You know, we're in Singapore right now. It's amazing. So I've had so much fun. I mean, there's been ups and there's been downs, and last year was just, you know, kind of a learning year for me. I was starting from scratch. I had a lot of testing to do in January, February, and then going straight into the first round, which was in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which is a very difficult track.
Very hard.
But actually, that's my favorite track to this day, is actually Jeddah, which I really enjoy. I think it's because of the walls and how fast it is. I don't know. Being a rally driver, being that close to trees, that feels like nothing. You know where you're gonna hit. You're gonna hit a barrier. You know, you don't know if you're just gonna go off a cliff and rally.
Do you feel like you prefer the street circuits then over the normal?
I think I do. It just gives me that extra bit of, you know, like adrenaline rush. You know, you get that much closer to a wall, and you're like, "Woo, that was close." All
Everyone
right.
else is like, "No."
You're loving it.
No, I really enjoyed it, and especially Singapore. Last year, it was my best result of the first season, P4 qualifying and both races. So, I mean, it's a difficult track. It's very technical, and the surface changes a lot even throughout a 30-minute race. And then going into braking zones, you always have to manage, you know, where you're braking. Like, it's very difficult because a brake shape's supposed to look really nice, you know, kind of a trail off, and some like are like this in Singapore because it's so bumpy. Like, it's such a street circuit, you know. It's Jeddah, they call it a street circuit. It's really not.
No,
you know,
it
it's
very
fully
immaculate.
it
is perfect.
But this is fully like, they're building T7 down there right now, you know, they're putting up barriers. So it's really cool, and it's so cool that F1 Academy, we're able to go to all these different circuits, you know, in different places and experience the different types of tracks on an F1 weekend, you know. It's incredible. I'd never been to an F1 race before Jeddah, my first F1 Academy race, which is so cool.
Crazy.
Walking the F1 paddock, it's like, what am I doing here? I shouldn't be here. Like, it's so cool.
Do you feel that a lot, that you shouldn't be here?
In the beginning, yes. Like, it definitely just felt like an unknown world, you know, like I'm just a rally driver walking into an F1 paddock. Super weird. But to be honest, working with Williams, and they're like such a family-oriented team that I felt so included in everything.
Nice.
And it's just been a really cool experience, like, all around. Like, I've had a lot of difficult races this year and bad luck, but it's still overall, I just really enjoy the experience.
And do you still prefer rallying?
I want to know.
I don't know.
What do you
wanna
prefer? The
There's
high
so-
speed, the grip, or the...
I don't know. See, that was one thing that I really couldn't wrap my head
Is it
around.
trusting the downforce,
Trusting
right?
the
Yeah.
downforce. Never done that in my life. You know, rally cars, yeah, you have a bit of downforce, but nothing like that.
It's
and
like,
it's
you know when the car's going to
Yeah.
go round, but there they tell you this corner's flat, and you're like, nope,
No
it's
way.
not.
there's
It's
no
not.
way, you know? Yeah, it's like, okay, the faster you go, the more the downforce is going to work, and the more you're going to stick to the ground. Like, that made no sense in my
Yeah.
brain. And
It's
like,
completely the opposite.
yeah, I mean, at the beginning of last year and that season, I was just trying to wrap my head around that every race, and that's where I'd lack, you know, compared to everyone. It's just the high speed stuff. But now we're meant, you know, we're fine.
We're good.
But you know, going back to like rally or open wheel stuff, like, I don't know, I enjoy both, and I think there's pluses and minuses to both, and I think rally will always be my first love kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just taking it as it comes and having fun. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do next year because it's my second year in F1 Academy. You only get two. But I've had so much fun learning. I would go back to rally, but if I had a really good opportunity to stay in open wheel next year, I would also do that. So
Do you have
What
any
do
who
other?
knows?
Do you have any other disciplines you want to try?
I don't really know what's left.
Yeah, I'm
you have
not
to go
sure.
2 wheels at this point.
Yeah, which I've done some dirt biking growing up and everything.
Okay,
so
yeah. That's fine.
Actually, I saw a video of you the other day doing a backflip.
yeah, I did
On
a
a bike.
backflip into the foam pit on a pit bike
Yeah.
the other
Okay,
day.
wow.
Which is fun.
So what
So
is it
many
then?
career options
Yeah,
here.
I know,
This is
right?
how you should do it. I just did single seaters, so if I didn't make F1, I was done.
You've
You
missed
know,
a trick there.
Yeah.
You really have. She's got like the best CV
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
okay.
everything has just been so fun, and I've enjoyed, you know, learning all these different types
Mm.
of disciplines, and I'm so thankful that I've gotten every single opportunity that I have and taken them.
Yeah.
Because I probably wouldn't have been in the situation I am now, and having the chance to choose of which way I want to go.
That's nice.
It's really nice, and I really enjoy it. And you know, I'd love to be able to do both for the rest of my life. I did a rally recently before Zandvoort, actually. We won that in our class and got 3rd overall, which was quite fun, just to be able to go back, have some fun, and reset.
So then you're jumping in a rally car, and then like a week or two later, then you're jumping in your
does that
academy car.
Do you feel the effects of that? Like,
How does your
with
brain
your
do that?
feeling in the car once you jump back in
I don't
here?
know. I feel like they're so different that it's not a problem for me. It's kind of
That
like
it
a light
doesn't
switch.
connect,
Like,
no.
they don't
Yeah.
connect in any way. But, I mean, maybe if I was a bit, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm so young and I just am able to switch between the things. But I think it's the fact that I've grown up doing
that,
it.
yeah.
You know, it's not a problem.
If I feel like if I went and did a rally and then jump, I'd just be all over the place. I'd be in the
got it
wall
so
in both
wrong.
series in the end.
Are you different in each car? Like, what is the driver version of you? Are you super calm? Do you need... Because I feel like you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie.
Oh,
That is the vibe I'm getting from you. So when you're in a rally car, are you super, like, you need the pressure, you need the adrenaline, and then maybe in the academy car you're a little bit more chilled, or are you the same in both?
Well, I need the adrenaline, but I also need to win. Like,
enough.
I have...
That is key, yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, in a rally car, you can get really sideways, but there's a limit to how sideways you can get versus what's fast, you know? So, I enjoy rally because it is so precise, but at the same time, you kind of have to change stuff on the fly in the way, because we do recce, say, a day before the rally starts, and some of those stages you don't do until Sunday, and maybe recce's on the Thursday. So you're writing these notes down and basically telling yourself what's ahead of you, basically creating a roadmap for when you're listening to the notes when the co-driver.
I'd get that so wrong.
The
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
It's so difficult because of all the work you have to do before you even start in the car. And it's it's not a rally weekend, a rally race on the weekend. It's a full week of preparation, all testing and doing the notes. Sometimes recce's over 2 days, maybe not just one. And then you have to go back and do video recce and do it all over again.
30 pages of these notes, because we did a video.
Oh, probably way more, to be honest.
Oliver Solberg's co-driver. Okay, we did like a 2-kilometer stage. But even that, like me I had to do all the notes myself, and then trying to read them out at the correct moment with like staying calm. I don't know. I think the co-driver is also
the most important part
impressive.
is staying calm, especially in the car, because you're driving, you're going at these certain speeds, but you're also trying to process what you're hearing. And I think that's why when you also look back on onboards of, you know, facing me in the car, and I'm like stoic. I look like I'm dead, like just staring at the road because I'm so focused on so many different things around me. It's like it's really about multitasking, but also changing things and adapting to things on the fly. Maybe you're the third car on the road, so the first car pulled out this rock in the inside, and you all of a sudden come around, and you have to switch up, you know, like, or even maybe it rained the day before, and you have to, you know, just change your driving style or whatever into this corner. You have to brake this much early, but you don't know that to get there. You know, you only have the notes that you have from the previous
very
days.
Like reactionary as well.
Oh
like,
yeah,
a lot
definitely.
Of that.
And you can't afford to go off.
No,
It's very bad.
I mean,
very,
you go off,
In
it's
big trouble,
a weekend done. But I think the coolest thing is just the trust that you have between your co-driver as well. Like, I'm trusting her with my life, and she's trusting me with her life. So it's a very big team sport as well. And then there's so many different things. Like, to win the rear-wheel drive championship, we had to do a lot of front to rears during transits. So we'd like really huck it on transits and try to get there as fast as we can. Obviously, you have to be at the speed limit, and then get there and do a 5-minute tire change front to rear so that we have better tires on the rear going into the second loop of stages, blah blah blah. But you're doing everything by yourself basically until you get to service and you have your mechanics. But it is such a difficult like sport and race week that when you actually win or have success, it feels so good.
It must feel so
good.
rewarding. I find the rally so impressive.
I think it's so cool.
I mean, there's just so much
mind-blowing.
work that goes into it, you know, and the racing is so flat out as well.
Yeah.
Like,
But then you come to a weekend like this, because we were talking just before about you don't actually have that much time in the car.
oh, like
before
0
you're
compared to
racing.
rally.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So how does that work? You have practice, you do a few laps.
Yeah, Singapore is actually the most difficult weekend because we have the least amount of time on track. We actually only have one free practice, and it's only 40 minutes.
And how many push laps? Sorry, how many push laps would that be for you guys?
That would be probably 2 runs of maybe 5-6 push laps, which is like nothing.
Especially if it's your first time at the
like
track.
you're learning
It's tough. And then
It's
you're
very
straight
tough.
quali. It's like
straight into qualifying.
that session decides your whole weekend nearly.
Basically,
Yeah.
you just learn as much as possible and know that F1 is going to be on the track next, so the grip is going to change like that.
So how much does the lap time change for you practice to quali?
I think last year, if I remember correctly, it was about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
That's a lot.
But we're obviously the support series, so we're on track first. We're cleaning. We're you know. So when after the F1 session, they put down so much rubber with those soft tires, and especially with a street circuit, they clean it a lot as well. So you go into qualifying, you just have to know in your brain, I'm gonna be able to brake 10 meters later everywhere. I'm gonna be able to take this much more speed.
Wow,
you know.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That would affect it.
So like mentally, you have to know that in advance so that you're not on the back foot and trying to figure it out during your push laps. And it's really hard here as well because of the track temp. There's like maybe 1 or 2 push laps, but actually our qualifying's at night, so it might be a bit
difference insane. Yeah.
It's
nuts.
really nuts.
So what?
You look at the data of what to improve after practice, but then you also need to add on a second of just pushing because of the grip.
It's literally it's hurting my brain now, and I don't have to do it. It's really. So what other prep then do you do? A lot of it with the academy stuff, is it more data driven, and you're reading through and you're kind of working out in your brain, and then you get in the car and kind of hope that matches up?
Yeah, I would say, like, obviously before we fly in, I go to sim at ART and we do a day of sim. So basically we kind of run through a race weekend. in the sim. So we'll do, you know, a 40-minute free practice, which is kind of low grip, and then go into qualifying where it's 100% grip. We'll do kind of 2 qualifying, just simulations, and then do 2 race runs, and then we'll do like safety car restart practice and stuff like that, just to cater to this specific track. And that's about what we do for prep before we get to here. And since it's my second year coming to Singapore, we have data from last year. We can rewatch races and qualifying. But the difficult thing about F1 Academy, which is different to regular F4 series, is we don't have video. We don't have onboard video. So we can never check onboard video over a race weekend.
Absolutely very tough.
Yeah,
We
so
used to
it's
use that
fully
every
data driven.
What do
Every
you use?
session.
What do you use it for? The onboards, like
Just like video references, making
It's a lot
sure
easier.
it's a lot
For
easier to
braking
see.
references, you look on the data and you can see the 2 lines. Okay, this guy's braking that much later, but
yeah, it's hard to
you're
visualize.
looking at
it,
a
sure.
screen. It's
Yeah.
much better to watch the onboard, then you kind of overlay. Okay, then you can see it and find a reference.
You also use data and video like similar together. But we're allowed to use that in testing, but when we come to a race weekend, we
You
have
don't have it.
no video, which is very difficult. I mean, in
That's
regular
so
F4 series, they all have video.
F4 Formula One, and then when we got to F3, it would only be a certain few cars would have the TV on board.
Yeah, we have the
And
same
then
thing.
you got to try. We used to be like trying to find snippets
so
of the
annoying.
quali
Yeah.
session just to see the pole lap or something.
Yep.
You're
Have a
trying
word.
to find
Get that
moments.
changed. That's really annoying.
Well, it's all F1 and TV rights and image rights that you
Do they
actually
share
can.
the pole position lap with you guys, or do
Only
you get
the
all
pole
data?
data.
Only pole
Only
data.
pole data
and your
after qualifying.
teammates.
But actually, a bunch of teams have complained this year from past years that you either get the top 3 data, so you don't get pole most of the time, because certain teams, which was Abby last year, was kind of always on pole. It was either Abby or Dorian, and Rodin, I think, was the one who complained that it was always their data. So now this year, it's top 3 data, even in testing. So you're like, okay, this person just put in a lap that's, 0.5 faster than everybody, but we don't get to see that. We don't get to see that.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It's really frustrating. But
That would drive me nuts.
it's the politics of
Yeah,
open wheel racing.
But I guess because all your cars are the same, aren't they? That's like a big factor.
Yes.
That you need that data because you need to know
Right.
how they're doing it.
There
Okay.
are specific things that you can change in the car that can make it a big difference with springs and spring settings and then the aero settings, but there's a lot of small things that can make big differences.
Yeah, the teams can still have quite a big impact.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And teams who really think outside the box, it really shows on track.
Interesting.
It's very creative sometimes.
Very creative. Could be in a gray area, but
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff going
Really
on.
Right.
creative. I've seen some stuff.
yeah, especially at F4, because the cars are so similar.
Yeah.
But that's why F1 Academy is so unique in the way of, showcasing female drivers on this pedestal, in front of lots of eyes. Like, having those cars so similar, base settings, it really, makes certain drivers stand out,
Yeah, sure.
especially when you can be adapting to, going back to the qualifying thing and the difference in the grip. Like, if you have to also adapt the car at the same time, so you have to be really good at giving feedback back to your engineer about what it's going to do, and then you're really kind of guessing of what it's going to be next to in going into qualifying. So it's just a lot of numbers, basically.
Are you interested in the mechanics side of things?
I mean, definitely, like, the engineering side is very interesting for me.
Sure.
Just knowing what things changes. Like, when we go to testing, we had testing in Zandvoort before we went to Zandvoort. We tried every spring setting, every downforce setting, just to know what things are going to do, because when things do change, and fortunately in Zandvoort testing we didn't have any rain, but in the qualifying of the race 2 weekends after that we did have rain. So thankfully we did try the low downforce settings, knowing that it probably is going to rain in Zandvoort, but just kind of feeling everything, even though we probably know it's not going to work, just for me mentally knowing, okay, that's the extremity of this setting and we're going to come back, but just knowing what the extreme feels like,
ticking it
just
off.
helps
how
me
it works.
take that box.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing that at every track, just to know that we're not missing out on anything.
So you want to be across how it's working. You don't want to just sit in the car and just...
No, I love doing that because I'm like, okay, this is what it feels like, but what are you going to change? Like, what, if I'm telling you this, what are you going to change?
Yeah, what are you going
to
do?
I love speaking to my engineer like that, and it's really interesting for me, and it's helped me a bit in rally, actually, just being able to communicate what I'm feeling in a car, because it's to the extreme here in open wheel and tarmac with the aerodynamics. So being able to, like, translate that small feeling of a little bit of oversteer, but it's not oversteer, it's like sliding, but it's not this, it's that, trying to translate that to an engineer so you can help them help you, basically, has helped me a lot in rally, actually, being able to do that with my engineer there. Obviously, we don't change as much, and we can't look at corner by corner, but just overall, it's a very unique skill, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask, how much change and feedback do you give in rally? Because obviously you drive, I don't know how long, sometimes the stages vary a lot.
Yeah.
But how would you give feedback on the car for a stage? Because obviously then it's different for the next stage you're going to drive. So
Definitely.
how does the feedback work?
The stages are usually all within miles radius, so they should be similar road base, whatever. They can differ a bit, but sometimes we can change things on the fly as me and my co-driver. I mean, mostly we change is like tires and tire pressure out when we're out on the stages. But to communicate that to an engineer, that's what our testing day is for, and usually that's on a Tuesday before the race weekend, and that's kind of the test. We'll find a testing stage that we can kind of close down that is close to the stages that we'll race on, so it'll be similar road base, and then that's where we get to figure out ride height, spring settings. It's similar to F1 Academy cars, just a lot more complicated, because it's not as base setting of a car, but it's just a different way you communicate things, because obviously you're speaking a different language. You're in a different type of car. You're on dirt. This is sliding. It's oversteering. It feels like it's understeering this corner. All of those wording is usually the same. Kind of, you can correlate to open wheel, but I feel like you're just speaking about different things.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you have time to do anything other than driving? Because I feel like...
I mean, it's like every discipline possible. What is the day-to-day at home when you're no engines involved?
Well, there's usually an engine involved anyways, to be honest, even when I'm at home. But living in Utah in the U.S., it's been quite difficult the last 2 years because I have to travel so far to go do anything. Yeah. Like, I love to give this an example, but we had a race in Montreal before Zandvoort. But before I went to Montreal, I had to fly all the way to Paris to go do sim. And then I had to fly back across to go to Montreal. So it's just so many air miles. And I think if I have an app that tells me, but I think I've done 112 flights this year already.
Shut up.
I can't believe you go all the way to Paris for sim from Utah.
Yes.
Because I was with ART in F3, so I know exactly the place you're going to.
Yep.
And I was just coming from London, and I felt like that every other week. I was like, oh, come on.
It's
just getting a lot.
Yeah.
It's only 45-minute flight.
But being able to go home and spend time with my family, and my two younger siblings are still in school. We live out at our ranch. We call it Care Acres, and we have a cool off-road track there. We have a motocross track and some mountain biking trails and some pets. We have horses, and I have a dog. But to go out there and just enjoy kind of being alone, basically being out in the middle of nowhere, it's really nice to kind of go back and reset. But also have fun, go take out my Can-Am on the racetrack or go ride some mountain bikes and just cycle or do something. But I really like to, just kind of do nothing when I get there, because obviously traveling so much it just takes up all of my time,
Switch off from the circus. You come here, it's like the whole week
crazy.
Is so busy.
Right.
You're talking to people every hour, so it must be nice to actually go back and
it really
switch
is
off.
for sure.
Your siblings must think you're the coolest sister ever.
No, they probably don't actually. But both my brother and sister race short course as well now in Can-Ams.
Nice.
So my brother started karting with me. I think we were 12 and he was 8. 6, I don't know. And my sister started a couple years after that with us. She's a bit more into her horses and everything like that, but she still really enjoys the off-road stuff. And we actually took, so Kira and Micah, those are my siblings, and we took them to a rally school for the first time this year.
Cute.
Got to see them kind of learn how to drive a rally car, so it was really fun.
Were they
to
any good?
experience that.
They're going to be competition.
Do they like it?
They're pretty good, to be honest. Yeah. No, they really love it, especially my brother. He is so analytical and so precise with everything.
Really?
Like, he's going to be really good, and he loves it so much that he'll do anything. Like, he repreps his own car. So does Kira. But he wants to do it. He's going to go reprep his car so that he can go race, you know?
Okay.
That's cool.
Usually,
he's in. He's fully committed.
Usually they come with us to the races, but they're in school now. They came to Singapore last year. But they're really fun to be around, and they're definitely some friendly competition as always, but it's really fun to have them and share the experiences with them as well.
Nice.
Did you get to do like school and stuff, or was it
Yeah,
driving?
mostly driving, but I did do school. For the most part, I went in person for the first part of high school and everything. I went to real public high school my sophomore year. And then things started to really ramp up, so I went online for the last 2 years, which that was kind of hell. Just trying to remember to do my schoolwork on my computer on a race weekend. It's just it was difficult, and then catch up the next week if I don't do it. It was difficult, but I'm really glad that I finished, because I think doing school, it was a different type of discipline, and being able to say I graduated high school and have a diploma, it is a good accomplishment.
And what about friends? Because you're everywhere.
Yeah.
So where are your friends?
My mom is my friend. My mom's my
Love
best
that.
friend. She comes everywhere with me. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely I had a good amount of friends when I went to public high school, but it's kind of gotten less. But, I enjoy this racing. I enjoy traveling. This is what I want to do for my career. So I say, work now, party later.
Part of the
So
sacrifice.
fair. And what about the paddock now? Because you're surrounded by girls. What's it like racing against each other? Is it friendly or is it savage? Is it scary?
It's very interesting, and I think it depends who you're around on the racetrack. Obviously, you have a lot of different personalities and driving styles in F1 Academy. And that's in any series,
Sure.
and everybody's like, oh, F1 Academy, like there's always crashes. Well, go watch a normal F4 series race. That is insane. The crashes are way worse. There's like 15 safety cars in one race. Okay, F1 Academy is nothing compared to that. Trust me, I've raced with some of the boys. It's insane, but it's really fun. When you don't get taken out in the first turn and whatever. But there's things that happen, and I would say, personally, from my experience in single-seater, it's a lot more luck than off-road, I would say.
Sure.
There's just so many different things that can impact your race that has nothing to do with you. Someone can just not see you turn a little bit and into your rear wheel, and you're off into the wall, and you're done for the weekend. And you've done all this work to get here. So it's very difficult when there's a lot of things out of your control, versus in rally, there's you and your co-driver, on a stage. I mean, maybe a deer jumps out in front of you. That's happened,
Probably a bit more rare than being taken out.
Absolutely. So it's just
so.
a different type, you know, and I feel like that's what I find the most difficult in single-seater. It's just others that make a mistake or just don't think.
How do you deal with that, like mentally? Are you quite good at kind of leaving it at the racetrack, or does it sit with you when something goes wrong or something goes well? Or
what is your thought process? So you've been taken out, you go home with no points. Obviously, long travel back.
I'll give you a really good example. So it sucks because at the beginning of this year, I had a really good lead up with all the tests. I felt really good. Like I had a P3 in Abu Dhabi. I got penalized, but at the end of the first season, so I was feeling really good. I was like, I'm ready to go for the championship. I'm happy where I am skill wise and everything like that. I had a really good lead up. Go to the first race in Shanghai. First free practice, this girl's weaving her tires on the back straightaway. I try to go around her and she turns right into me, and I'm off into the barriers. Full car was totaled, done the chassis, the gearbox, and the engine. couldn't make qualifying. That was the first race of the season.
That's not a good start.
So I couldn't make qualifying, so I
Yeah.
started back of the pack for both races. So it's like, that felt like my season was over. And it was only the first race. I was seriously bawling my eyes out, like, in the garage, because I felt like I'd done all this hard work to get where I was.
Like come off that winter break
And someone
big build
just doesn't look in their mirrors, and
No,
my
it's over.
championship's over.
So what did you tell yourself when you were sat in the truck? Obviously, maybe when you finished.
Well, I let myself have a moment, for
finish
sure.
your moment.
Like,
She's raging.
But-
What were those words to yourself to pick yourself back up and then head into that race?
I mean, I kind of just tell myself, like, there's nothing I can do now. Like, that's in the past. Like, I just have to keep going forward, right? And I did, and I went and watched qualifying on the wall with my team and helped my teammate. But just try to learn from that, obviously, which there's not much I can learn from it, but maybe just not trust people as much as I should, and just move on. Like, obviously I tried to salvage what I could in both races, but I really walked away with almost 0 points. You know, having to go from 18th on the grid, and you get points at 8th in the sprint race, and then 10th. Like, it was one thing after another, and then it just like felt like everything was over.
It must have.
I mean, I just went home and kind of tried to forget about it and just
move
reset.
on.
But
It's no point dwelling on it.
at the same time, it's so difficult when, and then you have to go pay for something someone else broke.
Yeah, that's tough.
So-
I don't think I'd be very good
It
at
does
that.
start to add up, does.
Raging.
Thanks to our friends at Revolut. If you're in the UK, US, or Australia and haven't signed up, you can get £20, $20 or 40 Australian dollars just by signing up with the link below, or scanning the QR code on screen and making your first transaction. If you didn't know, Revolut is used by over 55 million people worldwide, helping you manage and make the most of every aspect of your finances. Revolut makes currency exchange very easy. You can spend in lots of different currencies and exchange at great rates. Even if you've got to exchange in-app, Revolut automatically converts your home currency to the local one. You can even view live rates in the app, so there are no surprises. And it's got useful security features to protect your money even while you're abroad. Say you lose your card or are worried someone has your details, you can freeze the card in-app in seconds, order a new one straight away and use the virtual cards while you wait for the new one. You can check out Revolut in the description below. So what are the sort of targets for the rest of this season for you, results-wise? And
Well, I mean, I got my first podium in F1 Academy in Zandvoort the past weekend, which felt really good. I was P2 in the sprint race. So for me, to be honest, like when I crossed the finish line, it wasn't too emotional. It didn't feel amazing because I felt like I should have been there so long ago. Like how much I've worked for it, you know, that it just makes me want it more and more. So, I mean, this weekend I'm going to put in the same amount of work. You know, I've done it, but you still have to put that same amount of work in. And just, I hope to keep doing that, you know, and keep improving, because I kind of went back to zero after Shanghai, and that confidence really dropped for me. So just building that back up. I've had some, unfortunately, other bad luck with other drivers in Miami and Jeddah. So it's just been mentally resetting and just keep going for it, because, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And especially being here in Singapore, I've had a good past 2 days, ate some good food, you know, I'm excited for the weekend. And obviously had a good result last year. So just keep doing the best I can, you know. I don't want to put any expectations on it, but...
And bigger picture, where are you what is success for you? What are you looking to do? Or are you day by day, week by week kind of person?
I think it's a bit of both. You know, I don't like to put, you know, those specific goals out into the universe just yet. But, you know, having a successful career in motorsports where I want to be, you know, and this is what I want to do for the rest of, you know, my career, and what I enjoy. So never having a job that feels like a job is like incredible. So I want to be, you know, racing at the highest level, whether that's in F1 or WRC or World Rallycross, you know.
That's very cool that
I
it
know.
could be in any
it's
of them.
actually crazy that you've got two avenues
Right.
here. Then I don't know anyone else at the moment that has
I don't.
that.
That's
That
pretty
you've like
unique.
grown up
It's
sort of
very
doing
awesome.
both in a way. Like, I don't know any other driver in that position, to be honest. I think it's very cool.
Everybody's always like, oh, you put an F1 driver in a rally car and they just can't wrap their head on it, and vice versa, you know? But I think
the rally guys, maybe because their car control's so amazing, they can adapt to the F1 sort of.
Yeah, to be honest,
this is a very touchy subject in the most, but I don't know. They're both amazing. I think the rally guys would adapt better into F1 than the other way, of the F1 guys going to rally after having so much grip their whole life,
right,
to everything's moving.
Yeah.
I think Max would do all right though. To be fair, he'd probably be okay.
Probably okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool that you're doing both.
Yeah.
We have a question that we ask all of our guests.
Okay.
Which is, what is your earliest or your first memory of motorsport? I'm guessing you've got a lot, actually.
To be honest, I mean, I grew up in it, so it's
you're
pretty
sort of
easy
like
to
a
say
baby,
that.
I imagine, is yours.
I mean, I would say just hanging out with Oliver Solberg in the rally paddock when I was younger. Like, that's where I was, and that's where I grew up on planes and just going to different places. And I'm so grateful that I grew up in that position and being able to see all these different cultures from such a young age and meeting all these cool people. But I would say from my side, like actually being in a car or something, I remember my dad came home one day and in the back of his truck was this electric Mustang, like mini electric Mustang. And that's where I learned how to do donuts in our garage. And it's pretty awesome.
That's really special.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess as well, like traveling the world with your parents, doing the cool stuff, and you're there, and now you're the one doing it.
Yeah.
And like, it's all
awesome.
for you. That's really cool.
That is
It's
special.
really cool, yeah.
Wow.
I drag my mom around everywhere.
Just passenger princess.
Yeah.
That's really special. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you
for
guys.
coming on.
This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck with whatever discipline you end up.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'll be watching. We'll
I'm
be watching.
excited to see
I
it.
know. What are you
You
going to
could be
choose?
anywhere.
I know.
And happy birthday as well.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Good luck
thank
this
you.
weekend. We'll be
Yeah,
watching,
we will.
cheering you
Thank
on.
you.
So,
It's going to
thank
be
you
a fun
for coming
race,
on.
that's for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.